Okay, so there's not much time to do a hakdama to Bava Metzia, although the first stop goes pretty fast. So basically, Bava Metzia is a little different than Bava Kama, in which it's not like one big sugya, even though there are sections in Bava, but Bava Metzia is each one its separate subjects. So the first parak is about what we're about to start learning today. If you have people just arguing over purchases or metzias and stuff like that. Second parak is, as we know, is Ela Metzias. That's if you find something. Third parak is about Shaimrim. Fourth parak is the talk of the hour, which is ripping people off. Fifth parak is Ribis. Then sixth, seventh, eighth. The rest of the way is pretty much Shaimrim and all those other things. So, yeah. So with that, that we start. Yes, it's the mission.
I have to tell, I'm sorry, this is true. Years ago, I went to the Met game with my son Mendel, was in Metzia, and Mateo, the person who used to make the snoots for me. We went to a game together, and Mateo and Mendel caught a T-shirt together. So I wrote it in my Gemara. Now I hadn't thought about it since I last saw it anymore, but they caught a T-shirt together. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're mamish.
So there you go. That's
so
our case.
Who kept the T-shirt?
Naftali, I told you the guy was making the snoods for me.
I got it. I said who kept it?
They went from Shea Stadium to the Besdin. They walked together holding it.
Who kept it?
Oh, right.
The other guy.
Okay.
You could listen. You know what it could be like? This don't they have a court in the Philadelphia football stadium?
Philadelphia,
they do so many arrests over there. They just put them
right.
Court right then and there. So okay, so maybe you ought to do that for the T-shirt throw in the stadiums. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, so before we start, also, so Taisvis, the top Taisvis. So he asks, so why is Bava Metzia come after Bava Kama? Right. So Taisvis says because at the end of the parak, we're discussing the last night's stuff. The last Mishnah is if you have a worker who shaves off pieces of wood, who gets to keep them, right? So that's why they have to split it, right? Some of them belong to the owner, some of them belong to the worker. So once the Mishnah was finished off with that, the Bava Kama finished off. So Bava Metzia also finishes off with that, and then Taisvis says, well, it's not necessarily in this ain't say the Mishnah, right? But it's an interesting Taisvis. We just look at the first thin lines in the Taisvis, right? And it says there's a mandama that says the whole Nezikin is not one Masechta, but that's Machlokes V'Agastam. Then he says Lafisha Rebbe Loi Haya Loimed Keseder Ela Kamay Shehaya Chafetzim HaTalmidim. Rebbe did not learn. I guess there was some form of order. Rebbe did not learn in the order. He went according to what the Talmidim wanted to learn. Right? Then, but when he put it in order, then he did it in the proper order. Right? So Mamela, you need to know why. Meaning, really, yes, there's no ain't Seder Mishnah because Rebbe taught in any whatever the Talmidim wanted. But when he was Masader it, he put it in a proper order. And Mamela, since he put it in a proper order, then we need to have an understand. We have to understand of it. Yeah. Okay. So Zok the Mishnah. Shnai Moks and Batalis. Yeah. Two people holding on to a talis. This one says I found it, and this one says I found it. So we'll see in the Gemara why we need two terminologies and what exactly this means. But this one says he found it, this one says he found it, this one says it's all his, this one says it's all his. So then what do? We'll see in the Gemara and a bunch of blat that why that's such that strange terminology. He doesn't have in it less than half. Why don't you just swear that at least half is his? right? So each one says they don't have less than half, and they split it. Let's say one guy says it's all his, and one guy says it's half his. The one that says that it's all his swears that he doesn't have less than 3/4. And the one that says that it's half, he swears that he doesn't have less than 1/4. Right? So each one makes a shvua cutting down whatever he tainas in half. So this one takes 3 chalakim, and this one takes 1/4. Fine. So So two people riding on a behema. Or one is riding and one is pulling it. Each one says the whole thing belongs to them. This one swears he doesn't have less than half. And this one swears he doesn't have less than half. And they split it. Right? So the same case just by an animal. But when they agree, or they have edim, chalkin below shvua, then you chalk below shvua. So what does this mean? Bisman shein moedim, right? What does this mean? But they're moedim what? Right?
It can't be two business partners that agree to have 50, because then what do you need bezdin for? Probably they don't want to take a shvua, so they come to an agreement that they'll do, like without the shvua.
What do you mean? In the first case in the Mishnah, each one says, I found it first. Here they're saying, we agree. We both got it out together.
Oh, so that's what it has to be.
So why are you going to bezdin then?
Because we both got it together. So now whose is it? We both got it together. We agree. We got it together. So now bezdin has to decide what happens here. What happens in this case?
Right. So here, I'm saying, is there a chiddush if they're both maida? Is there any chiddush to what they're saying? If they both agree, then they split it without a shvua. Right? So we're going to see in the Gemara that that's a pashut the thing. Right?
Why would they have to go? Why would they go to bed?
Right? They shouldn't have to. I mean, two guys come in and say, right. Right? So that's right. They don't have to. Which the Gemara is going to discuss that. Okay, so basically it's a fairly straightforward Mishnah. Yeah, fine. So then the Gemara asks. So of course, the Gemara always starts off with just figuring out the terminologies of the Mishnah. So the Gemara asks, why do I need to say all that? It's clear. If one guy says I found it, so he clearly means that it's his. And if the other guy says I found it, and he also clearly means that it's his. So the Gemara says, it says it as one. Vikula shali. It's not take out one of the zeh oimers. This one says it's I found it and it all belongs to me. The zeh oimer animet to see a vikula shali. So it's saying it's really one long sentence. Okay, so Gemara says v'lisnei animet to see no yadana vikula shali. Still doesn't answer the question of why do you need to say both. Right, so the Gemara answers, if it would have said I found it, what does it mean to find it? That I saw it. Even though it didn't yet come to my hands, meaning once I saw it, so you have this fight with the kids. I saw it first. They find the Metzia, right? I saw it first. The Gemara is saying, okay, if it would just say, so you would think that the one who finds it gets it first. So Bariya Ba'al Makani, it would think that just Stam seeing it is Kainet. Tana Kula Shali, so therefore it says Kula Shali to tell us the Bariya like Kani. So it says that Riya is not Kainet. Then what I ask, me Matzis Amre, my Metzia Riyasiya, 5:30. Can you possibly think that the word Metzia means to see it? Right? Matzasa means that it comes to your hand. Now, I wish this was in Bava Kama. What the f? This is in Bava Kama. I don't even remember now.
113b.
There you go. That's not long ago, my friend. That's a week ago. Right? So what did
it was a long week.
when I looked at it, I said, "What? Kuf Yud. If it's in Yud Gimel, okay, but Kuf Yud Gimel, right?" So then it was really sad, I have to say. So what? No, but then when I saw the Rashi, then I thought that what it was. At least I had some memory. It's talking about whether last week we were discussing. Remember, we said the hot button topic is always on a Friday, right? So we were discussing last week not returning lost items to a guy. So the Gemara said that maybe you would think that if a lost item that you're not mechuyev to go out and find the lost item of a guy, right? But if it came to your hand, then you would have to return it. So the Mishnah, the Gemara says no. So there, clearly the word of mitzasa is mashma that it actually came to his hand. So how can you say here that our Mishnah we have a havamina that mitzasa means that it didn't come to his hand, he just saw it? Right? It's clearly the Gemara Bava Kama says that it means he saw it. I mean, he means he actually came to his hand. So Gemara says inu matzasa, and this teretz a fascinating teretz. Inu matzasa dekra dasel yadamasha enachanami. The word Metzia in the pasuk means that it came to his hand. He actually has it. Tana lishna da almanaka. Our Tana is not talking biblical Hebrew. Our Tana is talking street language. When somebody sees something, he says, "Oh, look what I found," even though before he ever picked it up. So we would have thought that since that's the language on the street, "Oh, look what I found," so he's kind of b'riya ba'alma, so tana kula shali. Therefore, it says kula shali. The b'riya ba'alma like kanila. That b'riya ba'alma, he's not kind of. Fine, okay, so that's why we need to say ze'aymer animet sasiya v'kula shali. But how about the other way? So listening kula shali, the loy ba'animet sasiya. Why don't you just say two guys coming holding onto a talis? Each one says it's mine. Right? What do I need to see? Why do we care if you found it or not? So the Gemara says, Itana kula shali habamina. I would have thought ba'alma the katani mitzasiya b'riya ba'alma kanile, meaning in the stam in the velt, meaning in other situations that when any other time it says mitzasiya, then it would mean b'riya ba'alma. So tana ani mitzasiya ba'ad the tana kula shali. That's why it says ani mitzasiya. And kula shali, the Mishnah Yisera, because of the extra terminology, Yashmina the Ria Lakana, we learn in all over Shas that Ria is not kaina. Right?
That's opposite of the rules of shotgun, by the way.
Of who?
When you call shotgun, all you have to do is see it. You don't have to actually grab shotgun.
Is that so? Are those the rules of shotgun?
I mean, are there rules? Are there really rules of shotgun?
Yeah, he's right. Whoever calls it first has it. Yeah.
But you have to see it outside. It's generally accepted rules.
Yeah. I didn't know we have Shilas and Chuba shotgun.
That's how you learn. You learn it. Everything else, seeing
what
it.
What does shotgun mean? What does that mean? A shotgun like a shidduch?
Yeah, I go
shotgun. When you want to sit in the passenger seat in the car, in the front passenger seat.
See, Yaakov wouldn't understand. He's the Bachar. He always got the front seat.
There it goes. All the dirt is coming out now. Garada now, I always sit in the back. I burnt out, Teretz, so maybe you're right.
Rachamim, the kids always fight who's going to sit in the front seat.
Yeah, not by me.
Not by you? They don't do that in Woodburn?
No,
the goats are fighting who's going to sit in the front seat.
Nobody wants to.
The sheep is in the front seat.
They're not allowed to sit in the front.
I hear. All right. The sheep. Do you put the sheep in the front seat, Taco?
The fair gate in the front, you know.
Not a fair, I hear. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's the first. Now the Gemara says Umi to 4 lines up. Umi matzes amret chada katani. Can you say that it says one for hazev ezeh katani? The Mishnah says zev ezeh. Right. This is always our issue. Whenever the Gemara says, I mean, I don't know if it's our issue. It's certainly my issue. The Mishnah says zeh omer kula shali v'zeh omer kula shali, right? And the Mishnah, and then the Gemara's teretz, the first teretz says, we just don't say that, right? Just take it out. So here the Gemara, for whatever reason, chooses to ask. Can you say it's one thing? It says how can you just say that? Just take out a couple of ze'omers, right? So that's the Gemara's kasha. So also interesting. So Amar Papa v'temer.
I mean, we don't do that. We don't do that all the time and say that's not what the Mishnah meant. It's not what the Mishnah said.
No, a lot of times we just say we do
say things like that. We say that all the time.
Yeah, but a lot of times we just say, okay, Tani this, and that's it.
Oh, yes, put this in my room.
Right? Okay, whatever it is. So now then the Gemara seems to change its mind, right? So it doesn't say Ella. It doesn't say Ella. Right? So Amar Apavi, Rashi, total new terrace. So now it's not one case. Amrila Kidi, and some say it's Kidi. So Kidi is L'chaira, the name of an Amoira. Right? Reisha b'Metzia, Sefer Mekachu Memka. So now we're saying that the Reisha is talking about a Metzia, and the Sefer is talking about business. Right? Meaning two different cases. So when it says Ze'aymer Ani Mitzasi, Ze'aymer Kula Shali, the Ze'aymer Ani Mitzasi is talking about a Metzia, and the Ze'aymer Kula Shali is going on a purchase. V'tzrichon, you need both cases. On Tomad Beis now. The Itan Metzia, because if it would say, right, if it would say Metzia, Havamina Metzia, who the Rama Rabbanon Shvuah, that's where the Rabbanon put a Shvuah on him. B'shum Demayri V'Amar, because he's going to be Myra and say that my chaverim are not missing anything. But let me go and split it with him. Meaning he sees his friend gets this nice wool coat or whatever it is. He says, you know what? Why does he deserve it? Let me go run and grab it. He's not losing anything. Right? So but a Mekachu Memkar, so we didn't explain what Mekachu Memkar means. Mekachu Memkar means that two guys come and they're fighting over, like it's the last food and bingo, let's say, right? The last food and bingo. Two guys come in there right before Shabbos. Each one says it was sold to them. So they're fighting over it. And they say they paid for it. Right? So that's the case of Mekach Memra. Mekach Memra, with the Lekal Memra, you're not going to say this because the other guy's going to lose out. Aim alay. Right? Meaning in the Mekach Memkar, only one paid for it. So the store owner is not giving back the money because he sold it to one of them. The shaila is one of these guys is going to be fighting about it, right? And if it would have said the case of Memkar, Havamina Hasam, the Bach sticks in Havamina Hasam, who the Rama Rabbanon Shvuah, where they're fighting over who bought it. That's where they're going to make a Shvuah on him. He can justify by saying my friend gave and I gave. And now I need the coat. I'll take it. But and he'll go buy another one. Right? He's just going to justify it that way. So our Metzia, the Lekal Memra, Metzia can't say this. Meaning, if he takes the whole coat, then the coat is gone. Aim aloi. So say not so tzricha. You need both cases. That's why you need both cases. Right? Fine. Mekach Memkar. So, but by Mekach Memkar, what's the shaila? Right? The lechsi zuzim iman naka. Why doesn't the store owner just say who did he take money from? Tzricha de nakar mitavayu. He took money from both. Michad mitaite, michad bal korche. One guy was mitaite, and one was against his will. But lo yadaina, and he doesn't know me who mitaite, me who bal korche. He doesn't know who is right?
And then two of them are walking and holding it together. That's the case, right?
Yeah, they're walking, but to Bezdin?
Yes.
No, they don't. Why do they have to be holding it? Why do they have to be holding it?
I mean, that's what the Mishnah said. If it's different, I don't know.
The two registers, they rang them up at the same time. There was
I hear you. That could be the case. That's why I'm asking.
Bubby is a cake, 50 servings.
No, I don't know if it makes a difference, but either way, we're saying that the store owner took it from the store owner took it to the one by Al He didn't really mean to give it to him, but the Maisi, he doesn't know now what the story is. Right? So then, okay, so that's it. So that's the end of the sugya. That's the basic part of the mission. Now the Gemara goes through a few cases of other areas where there's fighting in Shas, and there's different psakim. So the question is, do they agree to this mission or not? So let's say the mission is not like ben nanas. The ben nanas, what would be the case? They're both going to come to shua shav, right? What this case is, and it's going to come up again in tomorrow's daf, is that one guy, an employer needs to pay his workers. So he says, instead of me paying my workers, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to tell the grocery store to pay my workers. And then that will be that. And then I'll pay the grocery store. Then the grocer comes to him the next week and says, okay, pay me. So he says, pay you. My workers claim they never got the money, but they never got the food. Right? So the Mamela, they're both tining on the store owner. The employer is telling the store owner, you owe me money because I paid you. Right? I'm sorry. No. He doesn't. The store owner didn't pay. And they're both tining to the balabayas. I'm sorry, they're both tining against the balabayas. The store owner is saying, I gave out food, pay it to me. And the workers are saying, the store owner never gave us the food, so pay us. All right? So Mamela, they're both going after the store owner. Yeah. So Mamela, there he says,
could you say that again? Could you say that again?
It's going after the balabas. He's going after the balabas. Yeah, he's going after the balabas.
Say it again. I got confused.
Yeah. Basically, the balabas has to pay this guy's salary. Instead of paying him a salary, he goes. And the truth be told, now that I'm thinking about it, this is exactly what goes on with the yeshivas, with the grocery stores. It's mamish what they do, right? Instead of they give some of the salary from the teachers to the grocery store. Like this, they don't have to pay tax, right? You know about this type of thing they do, or they give them
the chesed dollars, the script,
dollars, and all that.
Yeah, but they do it also to one place to the other. The QTR, it's called. It's a legal term. You're legally allowed to do that. It's an accounting term.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Where's Akiva? He's not on today. He'd have a field day with this.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways,
he's still recovering from last night.
Oh.
So anyways, again, I'm sorry. So the store owner, the employer is saying, instead of me paying my workers, I'll pay the grocery store, and the grocery store will give the food to the workers. Then what happens is the grocer, the workers say the grocer never gave him the money, right? And the grocer says that he gave the workers the food.
The grocer says that the workers never gave him the money. The balabas never gave him the money.
He says the balabas never gave him the money for that.
He says the balabas never gave him the money. I'm sorry. He said the balabas never gave him the money, and the workers said they never got the food.
The food.
Right. Okay. And what does he say? He says he gave the food.
He says he gave them the food.
The store owner says he gave him the food. Right. And bottom line is everybody's going after the balabas. Everybody's going after the balabas. The store owner, because he says he gave the food, and the workers are going after the balabas who said we never got our food. Whatever it is, somebody's lying here. That's the point. Somebody's lying here. They can't both be saying the truth. So what does Banana's paskin? Banana says you can't have them swear because one of them is lying. So the question is, right? He says you can't have two people. You can't go into Bezin and make two people swear like that when you know that somebody's lying. I don't know if it's a chil Hashem. I don't know exactly what it is.
Well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What happens when one guy to one guy? He said, "Well, isn't the case where I say you owe me $100 and you say to make a shvua?" So what's the difference if two of us are swearing or one of us is swearing? If I
only
swear,
one is swearing there. Only one is swearing. He may not be lying.
Well, here,
I say you owe me $100. You swear. I'm not swearing. Maybe I'm lying, but I'm not swearing. Only you're swearing.
So what's the difference?
Here, you're making two people.
One guy's lying, so he didn't.
Right, but you're making both. You're making two different people. Either the store owner and the workers are lying. So and you're making them both swear.
So
you're making someone for sure lying, swearing.
So
no. So we what's it called? Cannot make two guys swear. At least according to bananas, we can't make two guys swear to something, right? So okay, so the question is in our Mishnah, we're doing the same thing, right? Our Mishnah says both of them make a shvua. So l'chayra, our Mishnah cannot be like bananas. So when
isn't that why? Isn't that the lashon that they do not less than 50%? I'm not saying it's all mine. Isn't that maybe the reason why in our Mishnah the lashon?
Well, we'll see that. We'll see in the Gemara. Yeah, we'll see that in the Gemara. So I mean, not now, and then a few blocks from now. So, anyways, a few bananas. Hasam bada ikashvua shav. There, right? There's for sure going to be a shvua shav. Somebody's going to be lying. Acha, but by Metzia, where they're both grabbing on. It's possible that there's nobody lying. Maybe they both picked it up at the exact same time, right? Another sports, it's like a fumble, right? Where they both got it and their hands are on the ball, or a jump ball. No, sorry, Rabar, no, jump ball is better. Right? It's a jump ball. You just can't, but you got to make them swear. Imagine you make these guys swear whose hands were on it first. Okay, with replay changes the whole thing. But anyway. So then the Gemara goes another one. This we had in Bava Kama. Remember that's Sharsha Nagin Chasapara, right? That somebody was buying a para from his friend, and then we don't know when the purchase happened, and then the shar shows up dead. So we don't know, did it happen before the purchase, in which case the seller is on the hook for it, or did it happen after the purchase, in which case the buyer is at a loss. So what do you do? So he said one is Metzia Varaya, and the Chasumcha says below shvua. So maybe the talis here is also below shvua. Vela my rabbanon. So what is it? It must be we're going to. Tomorrow says vela my rabbanon. What are you going to say? It's the rabbanon. Amri Metzia Varaya. So our Mishnah can't go according to rabbanon either, because there they say Metzia Varaya. Here we don't say Metzia Varaya. Saying what it says. Hi my no. Amri Bishma rabbanon. It's good according to Rabbanon Hasam Deloitte Tafsi Devar. There, nobody's holding on to the animal. While we have a dead animal there, nobody really knows what went on. Each one is just conjecture. Some Rabbanon because nobody really knows the truth. Each one's obviously claiming that they're correct, but we don't know. But here they're both holding on to it, so they have something to say. So they are Pagile B'Shvua. In that case, we're going to divide it with a Shvua. So that's why the Rabbanan for sure can fit into our Mishnah. But if you're going to say Sumchas, according to Sumchas, where neither one is holding on to anything, and Sumchas still says split it without swearing. Here, where they're both holding on to it, like Kol Shekain, isn't it a Kol Shekain? So it says Afilu Tema Sumchas, we can even say Sumchas. Ki Amar Sumchas Shema v'Shema. Sumchas only said his din where they're both shemas, meaning they don't know. Bottom line is they don't know. Unless you had a video camera on that animal with a clock on it telling you exactly when it died, nobody knows the truth. But Sumchas, where it's a bari, which you have here, right? Each one is 100% sure about what he's saying. Now, it doesn't mean that they're correct, but they're at least saying they're 100% correct. So then, therefore, that we're not going to say. Okay. Well, the Rabbi Baravuna Damar Amra Sumchas Afilu Bari. That Sumchas says is then even by a Bari my equal. Maybe what are you going to say? So when it says Afilu Tema Sumchas, we can even say Sumchas. Ki Amra Sumchas Hechet Ika Drar Damamayna. Sumchas only says it. Now this is one of the major machlokes in the whole Bava Metzia between Rashi and Tosfos. Sumchas would say, when did Sumchas say is then? That's where there's Drara Damamayna. Meaning Sumchas is saying that Cholkin below Shvua, where there's a jar of the minor. Rashi says jar of the minor means somebody's going to be losing. right? Because if one pays Shalaikadin, then the other one's going to lose. So meaning by the Shar, one of them really is the one that's responsible for the dead cow, right? So one is going to lose, but by the Metzia, then you don't have that issue, right? That's the way Rashi understands it. Taisus understands it. The third Taisus on the bottom, that Taisus says is that Jordan Menens, without their tainas, there's a suffix to Bezdin, right? Meaning by Shoshanaga Chasapara, the second Bezdin walks onto the scene, they know exactly what the shaila is. Masha'en came here, when they both walk in with the talis, they have no idea what the shaila is, right? Until these guys open their mouths. That's Taisus' version of it, right? I don't know if we should.
What did she say?
It's a whole lot. The problem is where to stop in these sugis. I guess it's Erev Shabbos. We'll stop here. It's a little early, but it's a little early. I don't know. The island wants to do a Mishnah or the island does not want to do a Mishnah. I don't know. What time is Lichtbench? In 10 minutes? Oh, we could do one
28,
Mishnah.
28.
No, we could do one Mishnah. One Mishnah. Paya. Yeah. Parrots, you want to hit the record and not record?